Hello and welcome to this special live broadcast of Mizoram Assembly Elections 2023. Now, Mizoram, let me just walk you through what the trend has been in the past years in Mizoram. So, the state has only witnessed chief ministers from two parties, MNF and Congress. It has either been Lalduhoma in the past or Zoramthanga who have been chief minister. But if you look at the numbers on your screen right now, this might change this year. ZPM is currently leading in 26 seats, whereas MNF is leading in only 11 as of now. And let me tell you that ZPM has already claimed 6 seats. Kolasib, Tawi, Aizawl West 1, Aizawl West 2, Tuichang and South Tuipui. In South Tuipui, JJ Lalpeklua has won by 5,000, won with a vote with 5,468 votes and a very close margin of 135 votes. He has defeated Dr. R. Lalthangliana from MNF, who was the former MLA from South Tuipui. In Tuichang, W. Chua has won with a margin of 909 votes. So, a very close contest going on in some of the seats, but we will keep you updated and as the numbers come up. However, it was it was expected that MNF would come to power, will be able to retain power this year. However, but it all changed when the exit poll anticipated a potential victory of the ZPM in Mizoram, projecting them to secure 28 to 35 seats in the 40-member seat assembly. So, it is likely that Mizoram will get a new face other than Lalduhoma, who is not contesting election this year, or Zoramthanga. And it is very much possible that Lalduhoma, the chief of the Zoram People's Movement, may be the next chief minister of Mizoram. You can see the numbers. Let me repeat for you once again. Mizoram ZPM is leading in 26 seats. MNF is leading in 11. Congress is leading in 1. BJP is leading in 2. I'm being joined by Amit Kumar, our executive editor, here with me at the studio. Amit, I would like to come to you here. So the numbers are, the results are pretty much clear, and we've just started. Yeah. But I think we'll have the results in probably an hour or two.
Yeah, in fact, one of the things that became very clear after within the first hour is that while many thought it was going to be a three-way race, it was clear within the first half an hour that it was not a three-way race, it was a two-way, and it stopped being a race also pretty much, because it became, when one horse begins to gallop much faster than the other, then it no longer, it ceases to be a race. So many had thought that Congress had a chance, and as we can see, there is something that many would have probably considered.
And Congress was the only party who did like massive rallies. We did not see BJP doing too much. Anyway, Mizoram does not witness rallies like other states, but here Rahul Gandhi paid a visit, and the visuals kind of went viral.
Yeah, that's, in fact, we had done a story which was politically viral. We called it politically viral because at that time, for the next at least that day and the other next 2 days, Rahul Gandhi was everywhere on Mizoram social media, right? Whether it was through Instagram reels or innumerable selfies or him riding a bike taxi and all that. See, that's the thing. That is where people have to understand that the popularity of a leader does not mean people have to vote for them, right? It's not often that a state like Mizoram with less than 1 million voters gets to see somebody like of the national level, like Rahul Gandhi, for example. So it is all, of course, understandable that if he's doing a road show, people will turn up. But as it's become very clear that people are, it was very clear to us in the run-up was that one thing that was very clear, that something had to give, and that Mizoram wanted change. Now, whether that was through a stronger opposition where ZPM has a much bigger say. Let's not forget, last time when they contested elections, they could not contest at ZPM, right? So they had to conduct an independent. So we had this weird situation where they were members of ZPM, but they were independent.
Exactly, because the party was not registered by the time.
So it was very clear that even if MNF was to come to power, it was going to have a strong opposition. That was very clear. But this time, I think people have also been pushed onto the edge by I mean, again, the stories that we have done, whether it is the struggles of the farmers, whether it is the struggles of education, the absolute lack of public health institutions in the state, and these are situations where it is. I think a fair comparison would be to bring in Aam Aadmi Party, for example. A lot of in Delhi, for example, people voted for Aam Aadmi Party because they were also tired of the same Delhi, voting for BJP, voting for Congress. The same happened in Punjab, where it was Akali Dal and Congress, and then Aam Aadmi came through. Mizoram has also made it very clear that they want a party which has, at least as of now, on this day, they have the interests of the youth, the state's youth at heart. That is become very clear that the youth have galvanized ZPM into the force that it is today. The results that we are seeing today would not have been possible without the support of the youth. And as you said, the joining of JJ Lal Peklua, a lot of times we see that celebrities just join parties, and they, I mean, technically, for example, Saina Nehwal joined the BJP, but we don't see her, doing anything for the party as such, right? But with JJ, it was very clear that he was not joining as a brand ambassador or as a poster. He was joining the party to be with the party and to get involved in some way or the other. And with after that, we have also seen that the ZPM has done something which should be a blueprint, like the way we saw how Tipra Motha did it in Tripura, right? They don't just talk about, in their case, what we can see is in both the parties that while leaders are of course important, but the reason why ZPM is winning today is not because of X number of leaders from MNF and BJP and Congress have joined them. It's because they have come up with a model, they presented a model, they presented ideas, they presented structures, whether it is for the youth, whether it is for the women, that are not only appealing but something that seems doable. So they have come across as a very, very astute party, in the sense that they have not promised the earth and the moon. This is not a party which has been promising 3,000 different types of freebies, for example. So this is something that we have noticed, that the ZPM has done a very, very commendable job. This is something that we had also talked about in our decoded episodes, that the party did not try to corner Zoramthanga over issues like the refugee crisis. In fact, they don't even call it a crisis, they want help from the center. Whatever was happening in Manipur, the ZPM also did not try to fan the fire directly by targeting Zoramthanga or targeting
there was no division between parties, especially regarding the Manipur situation. All of them voiced
but at the same time, ZPM also made it very clear that they are the kind of party that can be trusted with the situation. They did not need to corner Zoramthanga because there was no need to do so, and also because they are also aware that what Zoramthanga has done has essentially been accepted in Mizoram. So instead of wasting their time and trying to antagonize against one community or the other community, or doing something stupid like giving a hate speech against one particular community or the other, they did not resort to that, at least in the rallies that we saw. And they kept a very they stuck to the course. They knew that the people wanted a change. The people wanted a change in 2018 also, and maybe we would have seen that had ZPM been a proper party by that time, maybe we would have seen a much more different results in 2018 also.
So from winning 8 seats, now it is likely that they will come out, there is a possibility that ZPM may come out as with absolute majority. But for a party that has no experience, and most of the MLAs will be first timers, especially someone like JJ Lal Peklua. So he has been in sports, he's a popular face in sports, but when it comes to politics and dealing with situation, like the way Zoramthanga has been dealing with the center, especially they have been taking in refugees, be it from Manipur or Bangladesh or Myanmar, and also facing the center like head on, and not giving in. And at the same time, if a party like ZPM comes in the scene, I'm just trying to understand here, if the party like ZPM comes into the scene, how will they react to it? How will they react to the whole situation?
See, that's the easy part is done now. They promised, and they have come to power. This is the easy part. Now they will understand the challenges of running a government in a state with less than 1.1 million people, where you can make n number of requests to the center and the center does not pay attention. This is the easy part, Kalyan. You have Zoramthanga. Interestingly, the day he voted, the day he cast his vote on November 7, he said that he was very clear that we'll form a single majority party. We will win outright. So there will be no need for us to do alliances. And in amongst the reason, instead of targeting Zoramthanga on a personal level, for example, or saying anything, he said that the anti-incumbency is very strong. And it is understandable. Zoramthanga has been in power, so it's not so much a reflection on Zoramthanga himself. I don't think I would be wrong if I said that Zoramthanga remains as popular as he has been. And we will see that. I think he will remain as popular, and there is no history of Mizoram. Modern Mizoram's history is incomplete without the contributions of Zoramthanga. But the people also made it very clear that you have had your time, and a democracy allows them to change, bring in change that they deem good for them. So that is the reason why somebody, and in Zoramthanga you have a very, very veteran leader who is more than well known in the state. He is also one of the more astute leaders, well spoken leaders. And as I said, ZPM had kept it almost like a low profile campaign, in the sense that you were not hearing, there were a lot of promises being made, but you were not hearing a lot of noise. There was no fighting going on, there was no targeting them, bad mouthing, there was no trying to picket something, or try to create a ruckus anywhere possible. So they did not take the route that we have seen other parties do that in the northeast. And as I said, I think with the one thing that we have seen with Tipra and even NPP to a certain extent is, if you are a party of the people and you are a party of the people that you represent, as long as the people believe in you, you will come to power. The Tipra, for example, there was no way that Tipra would have won the elections outright, because their focus their vote base will always be indigenous. In Mizoram, that is not the case. So in Mizoram, it was very clear that all the voters are from barring the Chakma seats, for example, essentially it's a Mizo state. So there are no minorities, majorities in this case.
Okay,
so much.
Speaking about Chakmas state, BJP has also registered its first victory from Palak constituency. Here, K. Ramo has won with a margin of total vote of 6,064 and a margin of 1,241. He has defeated incumbent MLA M. Chaku of the MNF here. So BJP here registering its first victory in Mizoram. So speaking of the BJP, they had one MLA, and given the Manipur situation and how the government in Mizoram had dealt with the situation, especially the refugees status, so there was a wave against the BJP. All the leaders, especially the leaders, were speaking against the BJP. So now they have already registered one victory here, and it is, I'm not sure that maybe
there is a chance they might win
three exactly.
But that is also where the politics in Northeast gets very interesting. A person who is voting for the BJP in Mizoram is not voting for the BJP as much as they are voting for the leader. In the case of Chakma regions, for example, it is very clear that, and let's not also forget, I think in the Chakma regions, BJP will always have a higher chance of winning, is because within the Chakma community that we have, the people that we have spoken to, they also believe that it's only if they have a leader from a national party like the BJP that they have some chance. There have also been claims that the ethnically Mizo community and the Mizo government has time and again ignored them, which is absolutely possible, because it's, as I said, the public health, for example, in Mizoram is not one of the best. So within Mizoram, it is much more likely that the hospitals in the Chakma regions will not be as good as other regions, for example. So I think in Chakma areas, it is very clear that there is a strong wave for the BJP, because they also believe that it's only BJP that can actually give them a slightly better chance of having any kind of voice. So there is a strong feeling that the MNF leader may not speak on behalf of Chakmas because they are scared that they might antagonize the ethnically Mizos. And but the thing is that if you have a BJP in picture, BJP had one seat, let's not forget. So Buddhadhan Chakma was anyways a veteran leader of the region, and he retired this time. So Durjadhan is also leading on that seat, but there's also Saiha where BJP is likely to win. So this is something that is I believe in at least in the Chakma regions, we have always seen that there has been a very, and even RSS for example has a very strong base in the Chakma regions. So politically, I think it's a smart move on behalf of the Chakma on behalf of the Chakma constituencies to vote for the BJP, because that gives them a slightly better chance of having a stronger voice, whether it is in the assembly or whether it is the hope that the center hears them. So there is definitely that chance, and I think this is more of a Congress loss. This is, I mean, Congress's loss is BJP's gain in the Chakma regions. So that is there. And again, just to reiterate, this is not a verdict on the BJP as much, because BJP never really attempted to make Mizoram the way they campaigned in other 4 states. It was very, I mean, Prime Minister Modi was supposed to come, and then he didn't even visit the state after it became clear that the CM said that he won't be sharing the stage with him. So that ways, I think this is, I mean, as a return of 2 seats. First, let's also be honest. Many people did not expect BJP to open their account. So the very fact that they are going to win 2 seats itself is an improvement. I mean, if you look at historically, then they have doubled their seats from 1 to 2, and at one point they were leading on 3 seats. So that might still turn if they win 3. That's not a bad return in a state where few had given them any chance.
Okay, so before moving forward, let me let me walk our viewers through the numbers right now. So ZPM is leading in 26 seats, MNF is leading in 11, BJP is leading in 2, and Congress is leading in 1. And ZPM has already registered victory in 7 seats in Kolasib, Tawi, Aizawl West 1, Aizawl West 2, Tuichang, Rangturzo, and South Tuipui. So we may get the result as expected in the exit polls, where it was mentioned that the ZPM may secure 28 to 35 seats in the 48-member assembly. So for our viewers outside of Mizoram, I would like to just mention that the counting was supposed to take place on December 3rd. However, after requests from various quarters, especially from the church leaders requesting a change in the date of counting from December 3 to December 4, on the ground that Sunday holds a special significance for the people of Mizoram, which is a Christian majority state, after which on Friday the date was moved to December 4. And here we are bringing you the live numbers from Mizoram, as counting is currently underway. So counting of votes began at around at 8 a.m. earlier today, and in 4 hours we have a somewhat clear picture as in what is going to happen in Mizoram. ZPM leading in 26 seats and already registered victory in 7 of them. Let's take a look at the trend in what happened in 2018 in Mizoram. If we can have the graphics on our screen. In 2018, Congress had 4 seats, BJP had 1 in 1, MNF had come out with a majority with 27 seats, and independent candidates. Here we are mentioning independent because the ZPM, all of the 8 of them were from ZPM, but ZPM was not registered as a political party back then, so they had to contest as independent candidates and had won in 8 of them. So big leap for ZPM from with 8 MLAs in 2018. Now they have already registered victory in 7 constituencies, and the numbers are likely to increase as the counting proceeds in the day proceeds from here on. So Amit, I would like to come back to you again. What do you think are the factors that led to ZPM come out as a victory? I mean, we have all Mizoram has a history of anti-incumbency for every party. It has been like no party has ruled the state for more than one term. It has been Lalduhoma or Zoramthanga, and that has been
Exactly.
in a rotating.
Exactly. So I think in Mizoram it was very clear that anti-incumbency, despite anti-incumbency a factor, I think it was very clear that the people did not want the same thing. They wanted something different. It was, as I said, in 2018, despite fighting as an independent, despite the leaders fighting as independent candidates, even then coming beating Congress, for example, was very clear, as a clear indicator that the people, while voting, see, whenever we talk about anti-incumbency, it is the voting for ZPM is as much a vote against MNF as it is a vote in support of ZPM, right? So if you look at it like that, then it is also very clear that the ZPM is also benefited this time because people are also not voting for Congress. Barring a few seats, wherever ZPM has won or MNF has won, the Congress is hardly second in many seats, for example.
Exactly.
So it is not as if the Congress benefited in any manner, way or form from the anti-incumbency, because when in this election it is pretty clear that when people see anti-incumbency, they also see Congress as part of that. So if Mizoram has just seen its first batch of MBBS students in 2022 graduate from the Zoram Medical College, if they blame MNF for it, they also blame Congress for it. If the fact is that the state's economy is so bad that there are barely any jobs, as we have seen, and we have documented this also, then they also blame Congress as much as they blame the MNF. If the refugees have been struggling to make ends meet, or for that matter, if the center has not been hearing, then they also remember how many times the center did not hear them when the Congress was in power. Let's not forget, for a very long time there was technically, to use the term, borrowing it from the BJP, there was a double engine government in Mizoram, right, where you had center also Congress and the state also under Congress, but the state clearly has not seen that levels of development. Like, you do not know remember when we were talking about Pachunga University College, it's an outlier, but why should it be an outlier? Why is it that one college makes it into the top 100? Sure, that's the situation across the northeast, but for the Mizoram resident, for a state which has the best literacy rates along with Kerala, why do we not see so much of educational output from Mizoram as we see from Kerala? The state has not produced a IS officer for a decade almost now.
Exactly.
So whatever the problems are with the existing government, it is very hard to argue that they are all of MNF's doing and not of Congress's doing. So in this case, I would say that the anti-incumbency has worked not only against MNF, but has also multiplied for Congress, and that is the reason why we have such a clear verdict. You see, as we have seen, the constituencies are very small. JJ Lalpekluwa, after all the popularity, also won by 153 votes, for example. So it's a place where 100-200 votes can make all the difference. I'm also getting reports that Prabha Chakma from MNF has won, and she's won by less than 600 votes. So these are small constituencies with very small margins. So that is where we have to understand as much as possible that there was all in line. If the people saw Congress as an alternative, we would not be seeing these results, because if there are 20,000 votes and there are 3 strong candidates, we are going to see very, very close results. But barring a few seats, we are essentially seeing it very clear that the vote is in majority for ZPM. So any anger against MNF is not going to translate as vote for Congress.
What is even more concerning for MNF is that Zoramthanga is trailing by 2,101 votes, where, like Amit said, 100 vote is can make a big difference. Here, the incoming Chief Minister is trailing by 2,101 votes from Aizawl East 1 constituency. So there is also a big concern for MNF. If the Chief Minister is not being able to retain his seat, so what is the future of the party at all?
See, that's the thing. The party has to. This is where the writing on the wall also. If Zoramthanga does lose his seat also, it is a very clear indicator that the people have lost trust in MNF as a governance. Now, whether that has translated into disillusionment, this also could very well mean that there is a strong amount of disillusionment amongst the party cadre. If the CM cannot retain his seat, then there has to be something that has gone wrong at a booth level, or maybe the number of voters did not turn up as expected. Something has gone wrong for the MNF at a very deep level. This is also time for the party to introspect. And let's not forget that Zoramthanga is in his 80s. So you cannot, every party that is dependent on one person as a leader will see a downfall the moment that leader begins to lose their relevance. In Assam, we saw that in the last decade when in AGP, when Prafulla Mahanta was not, even though he was winning his seat, but he was no longer seen as a viable alternative, and as a result, that made space for first the Congress and then the BJP. Zoramthanga and MNF need to understand that the party, see, Mizoram is in Mizoram, party cadres are also members of several other organizations, which are also, there's a huge overlap, right? So, for example, every member of MNF will also be a member of IMA, for example. So for the so is the case for ZPM, for example, or INC for that matter. But MNF has to now understand that it has to play its role of active opposition, because if it is going to be in opposition, it has to play the role of active opposition, provide constructive criticism to the government, and at the same time you have to build your party from ground up. This is, if Zoramthanga does lose his seat, which, let's be honest, is looking very likely, because 2000 votes is not something that is easy to overcome.
Exactly, it's difficult to very difficult to come back from 2101
exactly
votes.
In constituencies with less than 25,000 votes. I think his constituency has 24,000, little over 24,000 voters, for example. So that's you're essentially trailing by 10% of the electoral base. So there is, the writing is on the wall for MNF. This is become very clear that while people may still love Zoramthanga and may have respect for him, but this is a vote that they are tired of what the MNF has been doing or what the MNF has not been doing. It's one good thing. It's one thing to talk good, but the local. That's why we had said that when we did the video, that stop thinking that Manipur will impact, because will impact Mizoram election, because Mizoram has its own issues. And again, as much as there is love for Zoramthanga, it was also very clear that they were not happy with how things were being run by the MNF, and the economic stagnation, the impact of the lack of inability to recover from COVID is something that was felt very strong. Then there was the way the African swine fever was handled. People were not paid their compensation for a long time. These issues have definitely played a role, and ZPM has offered an alternative. And if Zoramthanga does lose, this should be a moment of reckoning for MNF, and they need to go back to the drawing board. As for Congress, I mean, I don't even know where they will go from here.
Congress, I think they must have seen it coming already, because from being in power in between 2013 to 2018, then coming down to 4 seats, and now they are leading in only 1 seat. They have not registered victory in any of the seats yet, not even from the 4 that they retained in 2018. So although they did massive rallies there, Rahul Gandhi gave a very vibrant speech that also went viral, and parts of which also went viral, and he was seen as a very popular leader. He of course is as a popular leader, but he was given a very warm welcome in Mizoram. And now this is concerning for the Congress, especially after what happened yesterday. They lost Rajasthan. They could somehow retain Telangana, but that has been Congress's domain. Sorry, that has been
they have had a chance. They wrested power from BRS. But see, the thing is, people forget that in Northeast, national leaders don't really win elections. We have to remember. I don't know why Congress believes this, and why Congress supporters continue to believe that Rahul Gandhi doing X number of rallies is going to translate into votes, because, as I said, it's a star attraction. If there is a World Cup final, even if India is not playing, I will probably go and watch the match. But that doesn't mean I necessarily support one of the teams. It is something that we have to understand, that Rahul Gandhi going there was it's a nice moment. Mizoram gets its moment under the sun. According to Congress, somebody like Rahul Gandhi visiting. But where is your organizational structure? You had 4 MLAs, for example. Where are you going wrong? The fact that you, let alone retain, you're going even backward, shows that people have lost confidence in you in mass. That is not going to be corrected by one rally of one day in the capital of one state, which is, let's not forget how big Mizoram is. You've been there, you've traveled the length and breadth of Mizoram. It takes a while to go to certain places, right? So Aizawl, as much as it might seem to you guys, but Aizawl is not the be all and end all of Mizoram. The funny thing is, the rally took place in Aizawl. Congress is not winning anything in Aizawl. No chance. The only seat that it is going to win is actually something which is well over 400 kilometers away from Aizawl. There's a chance that the only seat that they look like retaining, if I'm being informed correctly, is Longklai West. Longklai is not close to Aizawl. So eventually it was the local leaders that have ensured the victory, not Rahul Gandhi and not Twitter and not Facebook and Instagram Reels. See, that's what I'm saying. You can create a noise, but I'll repeat this, there is no talk of anti-incumbency in Mizoram without talking about Congress. We saw the same thing in Nagaland also. Nagaland used to be ruled by Congress for such a long time. Now Congress does not even feature in conversations. Why? Because anybody who's tired of the existing government is not going to vote for the other government which brought them to this situation, right? So now can a Nagaland Congress leader, for example, today say that they are not responsible for how bad the public health in their state is, or how bad the education in their state is, or how bad civic facilities are in their state? The same goes for Meghalaya. You have a party and your party gets wiped out by TMC. All the leaders, like in group, not one leader, you have 12 MLAs and 11 of them go to join the TMC. And even that does not translate vote for TMC, but that's a different conversation and something that we have covered in great detail in the past. In Assam, for example, why will anybody vote for the Congress now? Because if this government, for example, let's say after 10 years, Himanta Biswa's government faces anti-incumbency, why will anybody vote for Congress? Gaurav Gogoi does not spend much. He is a Lok Sabha member, so he is mostly in Delhi. Other Congress leaders don't really be doing much. So if somebody has to vote out the BJP, why will they vote for Congress again in Assam? Every state in Northeast, if there is anti-incumbency and if there is questions on the governance, Congress cannot evade these questions.
Okay. So one more interesting thing happening in Tuichawang, where BJP, the BJP's bastion is, the BJP is trailing in its bastion, but the margin is not very big. It's 175 votes, but like Amit said, 100 vote can make a big difference here. Here, Rasik Mohan Chakma is leading by 175 votes against Durjadhan Chakma in Tuichawang constituency. So
it's a very close contest for now.
Yes,
it's very close, very close.
So who knows? BJP may be able to retain Tuichawang as well. They have already won one seat, but will it make any difference for BJP if they lose Tuichawang? And
the thing is, for BJP, everything is a gain right now. Let's be honest. Given how things have turned out for the party, and despite the initially we had the speaker Silo joining the party, for example, the BJP, it's a very weird. The way BJP handles these states is something that needs to be almost like studied. It is almost completely focusing on two things: that you get local leadership and Narendra Modi's name. So with this, they tried, remember when they tried doing the same in Meghalaya, right? Like the run up to Meghalaya elections, they wanted to act as if they are coming to power, right? Beating their own ally, NPP. And in Meghalaya, we even saw like Amit Shah's rally, for example, right? So even somebody as big as the Home Minister came to campaign in Meghalaya, but it did not translate into votes. In Nagaland, they have had a very strong alliance with Nephew Rio, so that has always translated into votes for them. So they had, but then they had 12 seats and they had retained 12 seats. And Tripura was something which, if you look at it, then you can look at it as a consolidation, but it was also, the number of seats they won was much lesser than the first time. So 2018 versus 23, they had a very different, much lesser number of seats. So that is something that we have seen, that in Mizoram also, the BJP essentially dependent on local leadership and hope that some people will also vote for Narendra Modi, because that has been from the elections that we saw yesterday, we were not covering it because it is not our region, but from whatever we are seeing Modi posters everywhere, right? So it's a victory for Narendra Modi, not so much as for Shivraj Chauhan or for whoever their leaders are in Rajasthan. So, and as I said, like if BJP wins 2, that's 2 times more than last time. So that's a bit. And again, for BJP, let's not forget, the BJP's arch nemesis has always been Congress. So in a state where nobody gave them a chance, where Narendra Modi did not even visit and Rahul Gandhi went on scooter rides everywhere, if after that they can come with more seats than the Congress, then the egg is on Congress's face. It's a win situation for BJP.
Uh, the numbers are changing as we speak. ZPM has registered victory in 10 seats now. So it has won Kolasib, it has won Chalfree, Tawi, Aizawl West 1, Aizawl West 2, Aizawl South 1, Tuichang, Tuikum, Rangturzo, South Tuipui. And we are also getting reports that Zoramthanga has lost from Aizawl East one constituency, but the Election Commission of India is yet to confirm that. But as per the website of Election Commission of India, the Zoramthanga is trailing by over 2,100 votes. So concerning situation for MNF there, and I'm sure ZPM has already started celebrating. They have surpassed the margin, their previous margin of 8 constituencies. They have already won in 10. So they are getting close to majority, or at least the halfway mark as we speak. They have already scored 10 here and are already leading in 26 seats. So I mean, although the the winning numbers are changing, but the leading numbers are still around the same, like when it began. So okay, MNF, one more thing, MNF has also registered its first victory. They have won Thorang constituency with a margin of only 62 votes. So first victory for MNF here in the form of our roaming Liana. Pardon me if I'm not pronouncing the names correctly. So our roaming Liana has come out as the first victor on behalf of Mizo National Front in Thorang constituency here. So one good news at least from MNF.
Exactly, but I mean the margins are something that's also what we stressed earlier, that the margins are so small that there is every chance that this number might actually see substantial changes, because one round can completely change. The vote margins are, the electoral bases are so small that even a deflection of 500 votes in one round can completely change the equation. So like,
and it was a very close contest in Thorang, by the way.
62 votes, right?
62 votes, and yes, and he defeated Zodin Thwalang, sorry, Zodin Thwanga Ralte of Congress. Yes, Amit, you were saying.
No, so that's the thing. I mean, MNF is now firmly in double digits. For example, we are seeing it at 10. At one point, it had come down to 9, but now we are seeing it at 11, and others have not changed. So interesting. The other interesting thing that I'm noticing is that there are no independent candidates who are likely to win this time. So that is something that should be of a slight interest also, because there were some interesting, I would say, call them interesting, whether they were going to win or not is another, but there were definitely some interesting candidates. And this is something that maybe we cannot discuss in the video right now because we don't have data. But I would also like to say Aam Aadmi Party was also contesting elections. Let's not forget. I don't think, I mean, they were never going to win. But whether they even managed to save their security is another matter. That is something that we would like to see. Here is something, as you can see the data on our website, it's a very clear thing that ZPM is coming to power, unless and until, or else we are in for a very, very interesting time, because if this number begins to change, I think ZPM for now is in the driver's seat, has been in the driver's since counting began. But the margins are so small that you'll have to literally wait for everybody, to finish the counting, because as we are seeing, like, 62 votes, which means
I think that won't be required. ZPM has already, they have
officially won
11 now.
11.
So it's Kolasib, Chalfree, Tawi, Aizawl West 1, Aizawl West 2, Aizawl South 1, Tuichang, Serchip, Tuikum, Rangturzo and South Tuipui. So I think they are going to be in the driving seat till the end.
hopefully, I mean, that the current indications are a number to go with. It is
But
very
at
clear
the same
that
time, what is also concerning is that there won't be any opposition. So right now, MNF has won one seat, and so has BJP. So who is going to be the opposition? Who is going to raise the questions on behalf of the people if the ZPM is doing something wrong?
so that's the thing. First and foremost, you have to remember that for the first few months, people will not be questioning ZPM because they'll also be following what is happening. MNF, see, as of now, it is very clear that the opposition, if whatever structure of opposition we see, it will be a MNF opposition. Now, with Zoramthanga gone, it might just be proved to be a blessing in disguise because now they'll have to, if Zoramthanga, with Zoramthanga not leading the party, they will have to nominate somebody else to come into the place and play the role of opposition. Again, I will be very surprised if, and maybe it's too early to say it, but why will people vote for MNF again anytime soon? Unless something catastrophically wrong with ZPM. There's a party split or something, that is another matter. But for now, the opposition will only be that an opposition, and I don't really see much. As I said, my focus would be far more on the steps that ZPM is taking because it has promised and it has done the easy part. It's in power. What do you do after you come to power is the question, right? It's
so, but it's going to be a challenging task, won't it?
oh yes, that is something that is very clear. The state is facing headwinds in so many ways that
Its economy, especially.
its economy, there is no economy. That's where we have to start. The economy of Mizoram is in tatters, absolute tatters. The railway line that was supposed to be complete is still ongoing. That hopefully completely is finished, and that can bring in the much needed investments or give a fillip to the economy that is very needed. There is an urgent need to create job opportunities. We have seen the absolutely shocking levels of corruption in recruitment, where MNF leaders and their families were getting jobs. We are seeing we have seen the how the think of it this way, with almost 40,000 refugees from Mizoram, from Myanmar in Mizoram, another 10, although that number has reportedly come down from Manipur, and about 1,000, let's say about another 1,000 from Bangladesh. For a state of 11 lakh people, as going by census, you are looking at a 5% increase in population. That is a huge number. In Assam, the equal number would be something like almost 2 million, like 17-18 lakh if you have to count as outsiders, which is another debate in Assam, but we are not going to get there. The point we are making is that the state has been stretched. The state economy, which is already very fragile, has been absolutely stretched like a rubber band. There is very little income coming in. The tourism, like when we think of, say, just think of how many people think of Meghalaya as a spot of tourism. Right now we are seeing lakhs of tourists come to Kohima for the Hornbill festival. Mizoram barely gets any tourists, even though, as you have seen and I have seen, is probably one of the prettiest, probably one of, if not the prettiest, definitely amongst my top 3 pretty states of the Northeast. But you don't have a functioning tourism economy. Water crisis is also a problem. You have the whole while the rest of India is talking and debating, and especially the rest of Northeast is debating about palm oil. Mizoram has been growing palm oil. Now the farmers are disillusioned. They don't want to grow it. There was talk about bringing rubber plantation also. That also did not necessarily materialize. There are no new industries, so to speak, that we have heard of, which are coming in and establishing. All of this has meant that Mizoram, as peaceful as the society is, it's it's surely not a prosperous society. It's not a society, and this is where we'll come back to the point. The state is it's always mentioned with Kerala as the most literate state. So if Mizoram is as literate as Kerala, why are we not seeing the educational output on a similar level? There's a shocking data that for every 100 students that come out of school, so once you are a school student, once you have graduated out of school, you are literate. But how many of them are going to colleges? The number is ridiculously low. And what is the quality of education outside Aizawl? We have this world where Aizawl is at the be all and end all, right? So But as we have seen, there are regions which are almost 500 kilometers from Aizawl. What happens in public health institution? We had that shocking story where a pregnant woman died 200, she was, after traveling for 18 hours, she was still 200, more than 200 kilometers away from Aizawl, because that was the condition of the roads. You don't have all weather roads. It can often cost you upwards of 5,000-7,000 rupees just go from one place in Aizawl to somewhere
else. The amount of time it takes to cover 10 kilometers, for example.
Yeah,
for us, 10 kilometers
we think of it as a 15-minute car ride at night. Depending on what time of the year you go during monsoons, I wish it was an adventure, but it's very unfair to the people. Even if talk to the people who live outside Mizoram, and they'll tell you how difficult it is to go to their villages or to their homes if it is not in Aizawl. So ZPM is also, I think, the focus for, and that is where I think you have to understand, that is where I think the Lunglei Municipal Council elections have now we should also revisit them and look at them. It was very clear that that election was important because that was the first municipal council elections which was not Aizawl. AMC, Aizawl Municipal Corporation have had elections, but no other district, no other city in Mizoram had it. When Lunglei voted, they did not vote for MNF. They voted for ZPM because clearly ZPM gave them leaders from the place. This was not we sent some leaders from somewhere and okay, they will take care of handle. That meant that the ZPM, before it came to what looks like coming to power in Mizoram and thereby coming to power in Aizawl, they were working strong and hard enough to establish a base in Lunglei which was trustworthy enough for the locals, and that's why they didn't win a few, they swept the elections. So it was an absolute annihilation of the MNF. So in
the signs were pretty clear. JJ Lalpeklua, he joined ZPM in around March, and then in April the elections took place, I believe around April, right, and they swept the elections. So I think that is when the signs started showing that ZPM is likely to come to power, and if not come to power, at least make a significant presence in the assembly in Mizoram. And maybe how did MNF did not see it coming?
No, but it's one thing to say. See, that's what I'm saying. Retrospective is easy, right? The thing is, even if MNF saw it, what could they do? They were in power, and anti-incumbency was a factor. So Zoramthanga was their leader, but we didn't really see a lot of leadership at a second level, third level. The party could not fight anti-incumbency because it was not doing anything when it was in power. If the remember this, if the government does its job, it becomes very difficult for opposition to make a dent. Let's not, despite all the criticism that the BJP got in Assam regarding CA and the NRC process, there was, when we were covering elections in Assam, it was very clear that people genuinely believed that the BJP is doing work, right? And this was not something that the BJP did not know. BJP knew that it was working. In Himanta Biswa Sarma, they saw leadership that was doing a good job. So it was absolutely expected that they are going to, they have a very strong chance of coming to power. In MNF case, they had none of those advantages. The MNF leadership could not say that yes, we have done great jobs, and that is where it's one thing that they could see it coming or not, but they saw it coming, but that didn't mean much, because even if they saw it coming, what could they do? They could not have replaced Zoramthanga with a few days to go. And that's why I'm saying that ZPM, let us not forget that ZPM was in contention since the last elections. This was a party that had a strong base, that had leaders, and in their leadership, people saw a very, very strong counter to years and years of corruption under the MNF and the Congress. So it's one thing, as I said, it's one thing for them to see, but they're not going to do anything. And we are getting reports right now that almost barring two, it seems all the leaders of MNF, all the ministers of the MNF in the Mizoram government are set to lose their seats. So this is a strong indictment of how bad the governance has been. And if the sitting party, the party in power, if anti-incumbency works against them, it will always go to the party that is most likely to counter that anti-incumbency, and to counter MNF's anti-incumbency, Congress is not the answer.
Okay. So they found the answer in ZPM this time, and the party has registered now victory in 12 seats. Kolasib, Chalfi, Tawi, Aizawl West 1, Aizawl West 2, Aizawl South 2, Aizawl South 1, Tuichang, Serchip, Tuikum, Rangturzo, South Tuipui, and Lunglei West. So Lunglei West is the latest entry in ZPM's list of victories in the 2023 Assembly election. So 12 seats for ZPM as of 12:30 p.m. and it is likely that the numbers will increase. MNF has also registered its second victory in Thorang. East Tuipui. Ramthan Maiwa has registered a victory of with 6,075 votes and a margin of 160 votes. So I would like to remind our viewers that we are following the data provided by the Election Commission of India so that we can provide you the authentic numbers, and what the numbers that you're seeing on your screen and that what we are saying has been verified by the Election Commission of India. So these are completely reliable numbers and authentic numbers. So
in fact, I would just like to add one thing, Kalyan, that Lalsota, the chief ministerial candidate, he has come third in his own constituency. So the Congress's chief minister candidate could not come second in his constituency. These are the reports that have come. So yeah, if the Congress needed a lesson about how things are going out for them, then the fact that the chief ministerial candidate could not even come second, let alone win his own constituency, is a very, very damning indictment of how bad things are for Congress.
Okay, so we are being joined by Kimi Colney, our correspondent from Mizoram. Kimi, is it the how big the anti-incumbency factor, how big the role of anti-incumbency factor in the Mizoram elections? Kimi, if you can hear me, over to you.
We are at the Aizawl DC office where the counting of votes is underway for 6 constituencies in Aizawl district. So far we have seen that it's going to be a landslide victory for the Zoram People's Movement. When the vote counting was started, the people thought it would be a three-way contest between Congress, MNF and ZPM. But within 2 hours we could see that it was a two-way contest, and in the next hour we could see that the only leading party was ZPM by a very clear margin. The people of Mizoram have been hungry for change, especially the youth, and ZPM has promised change for over 3 decades. The people have been under the leadership of only 2 parties, and people are tired. ZPM has promised good and clean governance, they have promised infrastructure, they have promised sports facilities, and people want to see a government that is free of corruption, and they are hoping that this is the party that will bring the change that is needed here in Mizoram. The youth have a lot of hope in ZPM, and we are yet to see how their leadership will turn out. This is Kimi Koni reporting for East Mojo.
Okay, that was Kimi Colney, our correspondent from Mizoram, sharing inputs from the strong room where the counting is currently underway. So, Amit, the numbers has not changed for Congress here. They are yet to register their first victory, and they are still leading in 1 seat, and that has been the situation right from the beginning. But no change in numbers for them, and this was probably expected.
I guess there was some hope for Congress in the sense that, as I said in the beginning, that they thought that they will get some share of the anti-incumbency. But as is becoming increasingly clear that the Congress is seen as part of the incumbency. And so, part of the problem, that is all the problems that currently plague Mizoram. So, it is something that, the party is. It's also, again, just like MNF, the Congress knows what lies ahead for them. But knowing does not help much, right? You can see a car coming at 100 kilometers an hour at you, but if you don't have the space to jump, even if you know you're gonna get killed, you don't have an option, right? The Congress has been facing this for a decade now. Ever since the BJP came to power at the center, it's getting annihilated in every state one by one. But what can it do? It still believes that Rahul Gandhi is the solution to everything, which shows the naivety of the people. It has not invested. It needs to pretty much take a back seat in the sense and focus on organizational structure. If your own chief ministerial candidate cannot win or come even close, give a close fight, that means your party has not done enough work to even convince. Imagine the voters did not see in Lal Sota a good MLA, but that was your CM candidate. If the constituency people do not see a viable MLA in you, surely the party needs to understand that you cannot have aims of becoming, having chief ministers. Maybe they should have focused on, allying. But again, why would ZPM ally with, who would ally with Congress right now? That is the other problem for ML.
Alliance has not been a situation in Mizoram anyway. There has
precisely, because again, who will they ally with? The MNF is in alliance with NDA. The ZPM is too smart to know that not to ally with. In fact, ZPM also made it very clear that they are not going to ally with the BJP also. And again, why would they? The BJP cannot ally with somebody else while it is allied with MNF at an NDA level, and anyways that alliance does not exist in the state. It exists at the NDA level, which is why the BJP and MNF are both contesting. So where does Congress go? Who will ally with the Congress right now? And why would they? A sitting party will not ally with Congress because
I think allying with Congress, maybe it may be a wrong move for now, as of what is expected to happen in 2024.
Yeah, I mean,
yesterday's results made it pretty much clear, because the India Bloc alliance could not make much of impact in Rajasthan, Telangana, and in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh. They did win in Telangana, but the election is not just confined to the south.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, see, ZPM is also smart enough to know that, one thing that the ZPM has learned from the MNF is that you can be an ally with the center, at the center, and what Zoramthanga has said time and again, that is something that ZPM will also be looking at, that it's an issue based alliance. So on certain issues we are with you, but that doesn't mean we are going to jeopardize our state. Now clearly that didn't work for MNF, because it was also a pretty corrupt government, as we are seeing now, and that is something that we have reported extensively in the past. But for ZPM, I think ZPM is not going to be very worried about what happens in 2024 elections now, because they have the mandate. If BJP retains if BJP comes to power again in 2024, it is very clear that MNF, even if it has an alliance, may not translate into much, because ZPM will have to work with the government. There is no, let's not forget, barring Assam, no other state in Northeast can afford to work on its own. The very small states, small populations, and very weak economies, we depend en masse for central funds to get by. So in that situation, how are we going to not take center into consideration? Look at Tripura. Tripura Mota fought against the BJP. Yet in the past 6 months, how many times has Pradyut Mahanta met BJP leaders at the center? Because they are more than aware that whatever their demands are can only be fulfilled by the BJP at the center. So there is no point fighting against the BJP. And again, the question here is, if you fight against the BJP, then you fight against BJP as what? A Congress ally?
Okay,
that does not help.
And I think with that, it is time that we should change the graphics to not just the leading numbers but the winning numbers. So on your screen are the numbers that the parties have won in Mizoram. So MNF has won in 3 seats. ZPM is now 14 seats in its pocket, and Congress is yet to open its account, and BJP has already won 2 seats. So
Have they
BJP has
confirmed?
doubled their.
BJP is confirmed? No, BJP is not yet confirmed.
Confirmed.
I'm also looking at the DD feed, the Doordarshan feed. BJP is still being shown as leading on 2.
No, BJP has been confirmed by ECI in Siaha and Palak.
So
Dr. K. Bechua in Siaha constituency, he's won by a margin of 616 votes, and K. Ramo from Palak constituency, he has won by a margin of 1,241 votes. So 1241 votes margin, and that's a pretty huge margin, if I'm to say. So Siaha has been So for Siaha, Dr. K. Bechua, he was with MNF earlier before the elections, but he joined BJP, saying that joining BJP will bring more development in the state. That was the reason he mentioned while switching sides to the BJP and before quitting MNF. From Palak constituency, K. Ramo, he defeated M. Chaku of the MNF, and he is won by a margin of 1,241 votes. So BJP has doubled their presence that way. So I think BJP will be pretty happy with the numbers that they have been able to gain.
Of course. That's what I was saying, that if you have to look at it in terms of numbers, you have doubled your tally from 1 to 2, and given how the situation has been, it's definitely not a bad result. And with BJP, they have managed to win in Mizoram more than what Congress managed, and that is after Rahul Gandhi visited the state and Narendra Modi did not. So
okay, our correspondent Kimi Colney spoke to ZPM president and newly elected MLA K. Zoramthanga. Let's listen in what he had to say.
So did you expect the victory that you have seen today, that you are seeing right now? Was this expected by the ZPM party?
Yeah, we are expecting all the time, because we have a promise to people, then the people also are waiting for victory.
So how do you feel seeing the results, seeing the atmosphere, seeing that the people of Mizoram have vouched for the ZPM party?
It's because of God's grace and God knows our prayer. That is the first impression I get. Then, as I told you, we promise good governance to the people of Mizoram, and the people want to taste it. If we make good or promise, that is the reason why we get back to it.
Everyone predicted a hung assembly, but it seems like we'll be seeing a landslide victory from ZPM. Was this expected by the ZPM?
We never thought that hung assembly, because we are trying our level best. Then we always hope we can get landslide victory.
So Mizoram has seen only 2 chief ministers for over 3 decades. For the first time, we'll be seeing a new leader. What change can we expect from the new leadership?
New leadership, we always explain like this. It is not like the previous one.
Thank you. So did you expect the victory that you have seen today, that you are seeing right now? Was this expected by the ZPM party?
Yeah, we are expecting all the time, because we have a promise to people, then the people also are waiting for victory.
So how do you feel seeing the results, seeing the atmosphere, seeing that the people of Mizoram have vouched for the ZPM party?
It's because of God's grace and God knows our prayer. That is the first impression I get. Then, as I told you, we promise good governance to the people of Mizoram, and the people want to taste it. If we make good or promise, that is the reason why we get back to it.
everyone predicted a hung assembly, but it seems like we'll be seeing a landslide victory from ZPM. Was this expected by the ZPM?
We never think of that hung assembly because we are trying our level best. Then we always hope we can get landslide victory.
So Mizoram has seen only two chief ministers for over 3 decades. For the first time, we'll be seeing a new leader. What change can we expect from the new leadership?
New leadership, we always explain like this. It is not like the previous one.
Thank you.
So that was K. Sabdanga, the president of ZPM and the winning MLA from Aizawl North 3 constituency. He's won by a margin of 1,870 votes. So a huge margin, and he's defeated C. Lalduhoma from MNF from Aizawl North 3 constituency. So like he said while speaking to our correspondent Kimi Colony, that they had expected these numbers, and he was already confident about winning from Aizawl North 3 constituency. And like they said, they are banking on governance and good governance and development in the state in the days to come. Kimi also spoke to Lalduhoma Mar, the AIFF secretary and ZPM elected MLA. Let's listen into what he had to say.